Hey guys, today I'm going to show you how to import your meshes into Unreal Engine 5, including all your textures and everything, so you can set it up for whether you want to use it in the engine or you just want to take some nice renders in the engine. I looked at a few tutorial videos online for myself because I wanted to figure out how to do this, but a lot of them show parts of different segments of what to do. I wanted to combine that all in one video, so we're going to talk about the basics of importing the asset, as well as looking how to set up the opacity maps, the emissive maps, and little parameters so we can tweak the emissive, and also a little bit on the collision as well. So some basic tips, but all combined in one video to so you guys can understand. So let's get into it. I'm going to show you guys how to do it using this anglerfish, mainly because it has opacity for the fins, and it also has an emission light on the front. I just wanted to combine it all in one video, so we can just get it explained as simple as possible. The first thing you need to do is go into Blender, and what we want to do is export our model as an FBX file. Chances are you might have already done this step and you can skip ahead. However, I wanted to show you guys a useful little add-on going forward for your models. So I use this add-on called Act. So it is the asset creation tool, Blender add-on. Basically, it allows you to export for specific engines, which I feel really useful. So if we wanted to export this for Unity, we could do Unity and create a custom export path, see where to put it, export to Unity. Or if we're doing it for Unreal, just change it to Unreal. It's very simple to export for the design engine. So add in this, I'll put a link in the description for this asset creation toolset. It's free, just download it and install it, and then basically export for the Unreal. You can apply everything. Little materials, you don't really need them, and custom export path, pick where you're going to put it. So I put it in Unreal here, and just click export, and that'll give us the file we want by the going forward. Next, I want to quickly talk about exporting the textures from Substance Painter. You can export all the textures individually if that's what you like. However, I'd like to show you quickly how to do it for Unreal Engine within Substance Painter. So first, you want to click File, Export Textures. We want to change our output template to Unreal Engine 4 Packed. And I'm going to talk you through it quickly now. So if we look at Unreal Engine 4 Packed, we have a base color, which has the base color and RGB setting and the opacity in our alpha channel. So it'll have two separate channels. It'll combine the ambient occlusion, roughness, and metallic into an RGB texture. So that red will be ambient occlusion, green roughness, blue metallic. And then we'll have our normal map. It uses DirectX for Unreal. And we have our emission map. Those are the textures, and it'll export into 4 separate textures, which we can then import into Unreal Engine. You should have a folder like this. You've got your FBX file, and you've got your texture maps from Substance Painter. So similar to Unity, what you need to do is create a folder within your content folders. In this case, I've just called it Anglerfish under characters. I'm going to select all of these and drag and drop into the box, and you'll get this import options pop up. Most of these are okay as they are. However, if you have a model with separate meshes, so say your fish was one mesh and you had fins separately, your eyeballs and all that were in different meshes within Blender for your export, you can click this little tick box here and combine them all into one mesh. You can also change the material import method. You can create a new material as you import it, but I just click do not create and I'll make my own afterwards, and we'll import them all. So what you'll get then in your content drawer is you've got all your files here under Anglerfish. You can drag and drop our Anglerfish into the scene. You can I'll scale him up for you guys so you can see him a bit better. Here he is. But obviously we need a material on this. We have our textures, but we need to make a material to place onto this fish. So we can right click here, and under you can see great basic asset, just click material. We'll give it a name, so I'll call it Anglerfish. What we want to do is double click onto this, and you'll get this kind of node setup, similar to what you might have seen in Blender. We'll open our content drawer, and we can drag and drop our 4 textures into this scene. So we can just tidy up a bit. Here we go. So as explained earlier, in our first one, you can see if you click on it, you can see base color, the name of whatever the texture is down here on the left. This is our base color, so we know the RGB is the base color. The alpha channel will be our opacity, which I'll show you how to set up shortly. This one is our normal map, so we can put the RGB straight into normals, and you can see it updating on the left here of what our material looks like. This one is our combined map, so we've got 3 separate channels. So our red is our AO, ambient occlusion. Our green is the roughness. And our blue is the metallic. So that's that one set up, and this one underneath is our emissive map. We can plug that straight into an emissive color, but we want to set a parameter which I'll show you up in a second. So if we just save this, we close this off, we can drag and drop our material onto our fish, and for the most part it's working. Obviously we haven't set up our opacity yet, but if you've just got something basic with basic textures, obviously if you have them all separated, if you had color roughness map, metallic map, it's a lot easier. It's just like the Blender node setup. But this is how you should do it with the Unreal Engine texture setup. What we need to do is change this, because as you see opacity is grayed out. We want to be able to use our opacity map. So we need to change it on the left hand side. You see over here blend mode. We want to change it to masked. Therefore this opacity mask option comes up. We can put our alpha from our base color into the opacity mask. And we want to tick under the material section, we're going to click two-sided. Basically what that means is if it's masked on one side, it won't be invisible on the other side. I'll show you what it is without it and what it is with it. So we'll save this, close this off. You can see our opacity mask is working now. So it's all done nicely. If you look at it from the other side, it's invisible. That's what I meant by that two-sided option. If we look at our texture, we want to tick this two-sided option. Save, and you can see it update. If I untick it and save, it disappears. If I tick it and save, it's back. So that's the opacity setup. Now we want to make a little parameter for the emissive. This little light on the front. We want to be able to control it a bit better. So here we have our emissive map. What we want to do is right click, search for a multiply node. I'll just add that in. We'll put that into the A on there. And then we can hold S key on your keyboard and left click, make a parameter. And we'll call this one emissive slider. This is going to control our emissive light. We want to, on the left hand side here, we want a default value of 1, a min value of 1, and a max value of 100. And we'll plug that into B. Then we can unplug this all into emissive color. And click save. What I'll do is I'll just minimize this kind of over here so you can see it, because we can update it real time. So if we click parameters, we've got this global emissive slider parameter we can now tweak live. So you can see if we change it to 40, it gets brighter. Change it to 70, it gets brighter. All the way to 100, even brighter. So go back down to 1, small light, bigger light, stronger light, stronger light. That gives us a bit of flexibility on how we want our emissive light to work. If I turn off the lights in the scene, we can see it a bit better now. As you can see it, I'll bring it over here. Parameter, it's showing a bit of light. Gets stronger, shows more of the scene. Stronger again. There it is. Really bright light now at 100. It's a cool way to have to add a parameter to your emissive lights. And as I say, it's a simple node setup. It's not too bad. So this is your generic setup for this case. Obviously each case is different, but I wanted to show opacity and emissive light in one video. Save this, light them back on. Lastly, I wanted to touch on collision a little bit. I've seen a few videos talk about the collision. Basically the area of the mesh that other things can collide with. Say you've got a character running around, and if he hits into it, then it'll have a collision box around it. But obviously we don't want a straightforward box, we want the mesh as it is. So we want to double click on our mesh. You can see our mesh here. Got a world grid texture on it at the minute. We can search for our anglerfish material, and then we can put it on there. It is super reflective, and I think that the combine map isn't working as intended. So we're going to quickly look back at our material. What we want to do is change this one, so we can double click the texture. We want to untick sRGB. We'll have an error, and we just want to change the sampler type to linear color. So that's now all set up as we need it, and we can go back to sort out collision. What we want to do is add a collision, so we can click collision, auto convex collision, and click apply. This will give us a rough collision around our mesh of a very peculiar shape, rather than just having a cube or a capsule or whatever collision box around it. We can have it a bit more detailed. We can increase the hull count, say to like 8, so it gives us a better shape. This is quite a nice shape actually. So this will be the area in which it collides with other meshes in your world. You could play around with this. Obviously, you don't really need to know about it. I've just seen a few videos that mention it, so I just wanted to mention it myself. I probably won't use a collider. I'm just bringing assets in to just render out in Unreal Engine, but it could be a useful bit of information for someone there. Okay guys, that's it. Our mesh is set up in Unreal Engine with the material of all our textures and our emissive light shader working there, our parameter working, our opacity maps are working, and yeah, interactable, you know, it's got a collider on it, can't run into it, and it's looking nice. It's quite a simple node setup, similar to Blender, so it's not too difficult. I know the Unreal Engine seems a bit overwhelming when you first look at it, but as you play around with it, you get to know it a bit more. I hope that was useful to you guys, and you learned a thing or two, and you can bring in your own work into an Unreal Engine as well. If you liked the video guys, please click the thumbs up button and subscribe to the channel, and I'll keep making more videos for you to learn. If there's anything you want to know about, please leave me a comment below, and I'll catch you in the next video. Cheers guys.